And then I'm going to embed it in the file name that I've created in my notepad. So I'm going to pop over the notepad here is my notepad, and I'm going to revise it because I've done it already earlier today. So this will be the second version. So I have two video files embedded in the file name that are dealing with the same issue, and that is the join function of the playback, the chat function on Notebook LM that you can see here is a Blackboard Ultra versus Canvas LMS, which is a Learning Management System Platform Evaluation. And we are going to listen to the playback and join the discussion. But before I do that, I want to add several other recording facilities. Right now, I have this recording facility, which is MSN Recorder Max. And I'm going to place it in the very corner here so it doesn't take so much real estate. And in addition to that, I want to add also Loom, which is a cloud recorder. So I'm going to double click the Loom item. I want to get the camera to work, and then I want to start the recording on Loom and start the playback. So you can see, one other thing that I did forget is the PSAR, Problem Step Recorder, which I want to add to the mix. So I want to verify, first of all, that it is set up with 999 number of recent screen captures to store. And I click OK. And then I click the new recording message. And then I add a comment with my notes. PSAR.txt stands for Problem Step Recorder, and I put the video file name that includes the string, my video, then the date, and then the time.mpeg, and I click OK. At this point, I'm ready to play back that Notebook LM and join the discussion as an expert in the topic of Blackboard versus Canvas LMS platform evaluation. So I'm clicking the right arrow button.
All right, so today we're diving into, well, let's call it a unique blend of information. It's pulled from a YouTube video.
And I clicked on the interactive version, which is beta, and then I click on play audio, the right arrow to continue the playback. I clicked once and nothing happened. So
all right, so today
I clicked the second
we're diving
time.
into, well, let's call it a unique blend of information. It's pulled from a YouTube video with a, well, a pretty loaded title, ontrial.co 305-668-7245. ARush's live broadcast DrawRush at gmail.com expert witness litigation.
Yeah, you can say that again. It's from a channel called ARush. And what we've got here seems to be a recording of some kind of class or lecture.
Exactly, and it really jumps around from like the nitty-gritty, of course, logistics to, get this, vanity phone numbers.
It's a real grab bag of topics, and we're going to make sense of it all, highlighting the most fascinating and hopefully useful bits for you.
Right, so...
Hey there.
This is a vanity. This is a vanity number like 800 Chat GPT that is calling an AI caller.
That's a great way to put it. It absolutely touches on that concept of a memorable, easily recalled number.
Exactly. The video we're looking at even brings up 1-800-CHAT-GPT as a prime example of this idea.
So you're spot on. It's about using a phone number that's not just digits, but also has a meaning or spells something out.
And as you pointed out...
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, it displays the business theme that AI now is on trial in the courtroom and in the classroom.
That's a really insightful way to look at it.
Absolutely. It seems this instructor is navigating that very intersection.
We're seeing AI move from theory to practical application, and that brings both excitement and scrutiny.
Almost like a trial period, as you said, in both business and education.
What's fascinating here is how this course seems to be embracing that shift head on.
They're not shying away from integrating AI tools into the learning process.
Which, if we connect this to the bigger picture, reflects a broader trend in many fields.
Okay, and speaking of the classroom, oh boy, are they strict about absences?
Yeah, no last minute, I forgot, excuses will fly here.
You need a doctor's note, and it has to be provided before class.
No exceptions. It sounds like proactive communication is key.
Absolutely, and group work is a big deal, but with a twist.
The twist is that individual participation is heavily emphasized.
So it's not enough for the group to succeed.
Everyone has to pull their weight and is graded individually.
Now here's where it gets really interesting.
They encourage students to really utilize those class recordings.
Yeah, and not just passively rewatching them.
They suggest using them to pinpoint where you got stuck with a concept.
So you can then formulate more specific questions.
That's a clever way to turn recordings into active learning tools.
Totally. Okay, now for a sign of the times, they bring up AI tools.
Yeah, and not just in passing.
They're already talking about using AI for summarizing content.
And future assignments might require students to critically engage with AI.
Maybe even critiquing its output or using it as a starting point for a blog post.
With the clear instruction to always refine and improve the AI's work.
It's about smart augmentation, not replacement.
Right, a forward-thinking way to incorporate AI into education, echoing your point about the classroom trial.
Definitely. Moving on, they discuss creating shared folders for assignments.
And the final presentations are going to be online.
With a group spotlighting element, whatever that fully entails.
First, initial feedback, then the formal final presentation will be cloud recorded.
Accessible to everyone without a password, emphasizing ease of sharing.
And it seems like they have a solid support system with TAs.
Sebastian and Daniel are the go-to guys for technical issues.
Someone named Soren had a problem with an audit tab.
And there's talk of bringing Thomas into TA training.
A nice layered approach to student support, making sure everyone can keep up tech-wise.
It also suggests they're always striving to improve the course.
Having more TAs and reviewing assignments early.
Now, deadlines, that's another thing they emphasize.
Big time. Setting up a YouTube Live account requires 24 hours.
And the next group assignment will use advanced Zoom features.
Oh, sounds interesting, and it shows online learning is evolving.
Right. Classes are cloud recorded and accessible through Blackboard.
And they're even trying to simultaneously record to YouTube Live.
It's all about options and flexibility for the students.
And attendance is tracked online with volunteer chat moderator.
Yep, go on.
Flexibility also for the instructor that can incorporate AI and can co-teach with AI and take a break from every now and then.
You've hit on a key point there.
Absolutely. The instructor in this video does emphasize flexibility.
They mentioned that different courses can have varying degrees of synchronous versus asynchronous learning.
For example, they suggest that a math course could potentially be almost entirely asynchronous.
So that built-in flexibility for different subjects seems important.
And your point about the instructor using AI to take cottage or a break is interesting.
While this video doesn't explicitly detail instructors using AI in that way,
It definitely hints at the potential for AI to assist with various tasks,
they talk about AI summarizing content and helping with study guides.
which could free up some instructor time for other things perhaps.
Okay, so with that in mind, let's touch on where these recordings are available.
They mentioned the recordings being uploaded to the group's audit area.
Okay, so a good sense of the course structure and expectations.
Right. Now for something with even wider implications, touching on the trial of AI in business.
Let's talk hardware and AI, which ties into our earlier chat about AI callers.
Yes, the meat of the matter.
They focus on hardware powering our digital world, especially with demanding AI,
And they bring up DeepSeek, which allows AI tasks on less powerful hardware.
which could relate to fluctuations in NVIDIA's stock.
Right, software efficiency impacting hardware demand.
Exactly.
Oh, back to our listener. What's up?
Also for local host, when there is no internet, you can run it locally on a local host.
That's a really important point about local hosting.
It absolutely brings up the crucial aspect of accessibility,
This video doesn't go into the details of local hosting AI.
but it's definitely a key consideration, especially without internet.
Running things locally gives you that independence.
And it speaks to the flexibility we were just discussing.
Okay, with that in mind, they do ask students to look up GPU and NPU.
Always good to keep people engaged with those terms.
For sure. Then they move on to primary versus secondary storage.
highlighting their function in a business context. RAM is volatile.
Secondary storage, like SSDs, keeps your data safe and sound.
A crucial distinction for really understanding.
Oh, yeah,
And more importantly, removability. So you can take it out and stick it in another machine when the first machine crashes and you have an entire 2 terabyte backup of your current machine.
That's a fantastic point about the portability of secondary storage.
You're absolutely right. That ability to physically move a drive,
It adds another layer to that idea of backup and recovery.
which, as we heard in the video, is so crucial for business continuity.
So thinking about what keeps things running smoothly.
The video then goes on to the CPU, the brain of the computer.
Absolutely. And the CPU, that's the main control center.
It's manipulating the data and basically running the whole show.
And inside the CPU is the arithmetic logic unit, or ALU.
That's the part responsible for all those basic calculations.
And also those logical operations, like true or false.
Simple example, is 5 less than 6? True? Easy peasy.
It's all about breaking down those complex processes.
Right, and the CPU usually gets its data straight from RAM.
They also make sure to differentiate RAM and ROM.
ROM, or read-only memory, is non-volatile.
So it holds those critical boot up instructions
The next assignment is to find the RAM and secondary storage,
in your own computer, as you were just highlighting.
connecting it directly to running those heavy-duty programs.
And they briefly touch on using the cloud for scalability.
It all boils down to that scalability and overall flexibility.
Okay, then they move into the...
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
Also for LMS, learning management systems such as Blackboard Ultra versus Canvas.
That's a really relevant point to bring up.
Absolutely, especially since this video we're looking at comes from an educational context.
You know, the video actually does touch on the differences between learning management systems.
It features a discussion about the move from Blackboard, including its Ultra version, to Canvas.
What's fascinating here is the feedback they received.
Yeah, they surveyed faculty and students who had used both Ultra and Canvas.
And the overall preference seemed to lean towards Kansas.
The folks in the video mentioned Canvas being more intuitive.
Someone even said that with Blackboard, there are always little things they'd forget how to do.
Right, that ease of use seems to be a big factor.
They also pointed out that many other universities are moving towards Kansas.
So it's interesting to see that real-world comparison playing out.
Okay, so now moving on from hardware.
And as we've touched on, AI often needs significantly more memory.
That totally makes sense given the inherent complexity involved.
A future assignment involves using AI software,
To create a table of contents and a study guide.
using PowerPoints and review sheets to make it more digestible. Hey, yeah, what's up?
As well as assessment, tests, quizzes, and most importantly, co-teach with a conversational AI.
You're bringing up some really interesting ideas.
Absolutely. This video we've been looking at touches on a few of those points directly.
They definitely emphasize assessment through things like quizzes.
And they even talk about using technology for more interactive exercises, almost like personalized quizzes that adapt to how you're doing.
That's a form of assessment that can really cater to the individual learner.
And your point about
Oh yeah, go on.
Every quiz question is linked to a YouTube video, so when the students face the question, only the YouTube videos that are relevant to these questions that the student failed are played back in a playlist.
That's a really fascinating approach to learning from mistakes.
It's almost like a built-in personalized review session.
The video we've been looking at does highlight the importance of reviewing quizzes.
And they encourage students to go back and understand why they got answers wrong.
Your idea of linking each question to specific YouTube content.
That would provide really targeted support for areas where a student struggled.
Imagine having a curated playlist of just the concepts you need to revisit.
It's a really efficient way to reinforce learning.
While this specific video doesn't detail that exact system.
It definitely aligns with the instructor's focus on utilizing resources effectively.
Okay, so building on this idea of interactive learning.
This video also mentions using AI to answer questions. Oh, go for it.
Also using Notebook LM to aggregate 50 videos and make a podcast out of them and edit the instructional materials.
That's a really interesting use of Notebook LM.
It sounds like you're describing exactly what the instructor is envisioning.
They specifically suggest using Google Notebook for summarizing content.
And you're taking it a step further by imagining it aggregating multiple videos.
That ability to pull together information from various sources.
And then create new learning materials like podcasts or edited instructions.
That's a powerful application. Ah, yeah, uh-huh.
Because the textbook is outdated, the publisher can only revise the textbook every 3 or 4 years, and the AI is completely omitted out of the textbook in an IT AI type of course.
That's a really insightful point about the textbook limitations.
You're absolutely right. In fast-moving fields like IT and AI,
Textbooks can struggle to keep pace with the rapid advancements.
the video we're looking at indirectly highlights this challenge.
By already incorporating AI tools and online resources so heavily.
It's almost like the course material is designed to be more dynamic.
Exactly, relying less on a static textbook and more on current tech.
This approach allows for the inclusion of cutting-edge topics,
Like the AI applications we've been discussing.
and it mirrors the instructor's encouragement of using tools like Notebook LM.
To supplement, and they even suggest using Google Notebook for summarizing key concepts.
Next up in the video software,
Which they tackle through a group project focused on an extension.
and a quick reminder to check all the important notes.
Within the PowerPoint slides, they really stress that.
A good overview with a real focus on practical applications.
Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
Also, using VAPI, Voice API, to generate a dedicated phone number AI caller for each student.
That's a fantastic expansion on the possibilities.
You're absolutely right. The video we've been exploring discusses using the VAPI API.
And as you point out, that could definitely extend to giving each student their own dedicated AI phone number.
It's like having a personalized AI assistant on call, literally.
And you've cleverly dubbed it an AI cooler, which fits perfectly.
This ties right back into the idea of those AI caller numbers we discussed earlier.
Imagine the learning potential with each student having their own AI voice interface.
Okay, so with that important context in mind,
This video also highlights AI's very practical benefits.
in business, healthcare, and even law, as they point out,
They even mentioned accommodation letters for students using AI summaries.
it's about being inclusive and making sure everyone has the needed tools.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
And including real businesses in real time, contacting call centers at the university or in the hospital, and deploy this caller AI from vapi.ai.
That's a really dynamic vision for using this technology.
It takes the idea of practical application to a whole new level.
The video we've been looking at definitely touches on real-world uses.
They mention AI in business, healthcare, and legal contexts.
But your idea of real-time deployment in university or hospital call centers,
That would provide incredibly valuable hands-on experience.
students could see firsthand how these AI tools interact with real inquiries.
And deploying those AI cooler systems in a live environment.
That would offer immediate feedback on their effectiveness.
It really
Oh, go for it.
Especially for organizations that cannot handle the load, like the 911 city of Hialeah.
That's a really crucial point you're bringing up.
absolutely thinking about accessibility for everyone is so important,
The ability for AI to interact via voice could be transformative.
especially for organizations serving individuals with hearing impairments.
And you mentioned high-load environments like the 911 call center in Hialeah.
In those situations, AI could potentially assist with managing the volume.
Perhaps by triaging calls or providing initial information.
It really highlights the potential for AI to improve efficiency and access.
Okay, so with that important context in mind,
This video also highlights AI's very practical benefits.
in business, healthcare, and even law, as they point out,
They even mention accommodation letters for students using AI summaries.
it's about being inclusive and making sure everyone has the needed tools.
They even suggest using Google Notebook for summarizing key concepts,
Next up in the video job software,
which they tackle through a group project focused on an extension.
and a quick reminder to check all the important notes.
Within the PowerPoint slides, they really stress that.
A good overview with a real focus on practical applications.
Okay, so we've covered the course management and hardware links to AI.
Now for a bit of a left turn in the video's content.
Let's dive into the very specific topic of vanity phone numbers.
It did seem a little out of the blue in this context,
They begin by explaining exactly what a vanity phone number is,
and they provide a clear example. USA Mon.
which translates to 872-666-9355.
Pretty clever, spelling out money monitor right there.
Definitely a memorable way for a business to build its brand.
And it gets interesting when they talk about how different systems handle them.
Apparently, Google can't directly process letters in the area code.
However, it can successfully convert letters in the 7-digit number.
So 872 mon works perfectly fine and spaces don't matter.
That's definitely good information to have.
Then they look at reversing the process, finding a phone name.
Giving examples like call babe AI or 225 calls.
The instructor even shares a personal story about switching providers.
Citing reliability issues crucial for any business number.
Ideally, the phone name and account name should match.
Then they move into a live AI interaction.
Really testing out this vanity number concept,
Using Boost AI and noting very AI responses.
depending on the specific device being used,
So they directly ask the AI about vanity numbers.
and how it handles digit conversion.
Putting the, oh yeah, let's hear it.
Also co-teaching with AI like 800 Chat GPT and
That's
640.
a fascinating parallel to draw.
Absolutely, you're connecting the idea of a memorable, easy to recall phone number like an 800 number.
To the potential for AI to act as a kind of always available co-teacher.
Just like an 800. Yep, go on.
Yes, also local phone numbers like 640
You picked
call
up on a key
Sam.
theme there.
Absolutely, the discussion does keep circling back to the local level in different ways.
We just heard about local markets in the course structure.
And now we're talking about
Oh, back to our listener. What's up?
Local phone numbers like 640 call Sam, an AI caller.
That's a really interesting local application.
you're bringing up the idea that even local numbers,
Can be turned into memorable phone names.
just like the USA Mon example we heard,
It really highlights how vanity numbers aren't just for toll-free services.
and you're connecting that. Oh, yeah,
And most importantly, they are free of charge, unlike 800 number that they are expensive and you have to pay for each call.
That's a really key distinction to make.
You're absolutely right to highlight the cost difference,
The video we've been looking at mentions VAPI's free tier.
which allows you to get up to 10 numbers without any charge.
This makes them a very accessible option, especially locally.
Unlike
Using the VAPI API, which could be key for individual AI numbers locally.
API, meaning Application Programming Interface.
Exactly, it's how different software systems communicate locally.
Got it.
VAPI has that free tier for up to 10 numbers per wallet.
You can also import existing local numbers.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
Plus, the local area code can be translated to words like fun or USA.
That's a fantastic addition.
You're absolutely correct.
The video touches on the 872 error code.
And as you point out, even those digits,
Can sometimes spell out nerves or phrases.
it adds another layer of potential memorability.
So these phone names with local numbers.
Really do offer a cost-effective alternative,
Imagining a local number like 640 call Sam.
being answered by an AI assistant.
Perhaps your AI colder concept.
It definitely shows the potential.
For personalized AI interactions locally.
Okay, so building on these practical ideas,
They then walk through creating a vanity number.
using the VAPI API, which is key locally.
API meaning Application Programming Interface.
Exactly, how software communicates locally.
Oh, got it. All right, as we near the end of this part.
The focus shifts to exams and study tips locally.
The absolute essentials for local course success.
Right, they outline the local exam format,
Starting with a multiple choice section.
about 60 closed book questions locally.
Hey, yeah, what's up?
Also adding additional vendors like Twilio in case VAPI doesn't provide the right number.
That's a really smart point to consider.
Absolutely, having backup options is crucial,
The video we're looking at does focus on VAPI
but the instructor mentions importing numbers,
from services like Twilio and Vonage.
so the platform does seem to allow for alternatives
That flexibility definitely increases your chances.
of finding that perfect, memorable phone name.
Okay, as we get towards the end of this part,
The discussion turns to exams and study locally.
the really important things for course success,
Right, they go over the local exam format.
starting with a multiple choice section.
Around 60 closed book questions in the local setting,
Then there's the open-ended section.
with a choice of up to 3 local questions.
You have some local flexibility in choosing,
Which section to tackle first in the local context?
letting you start with your local strengths.
Definitely makes sense locally. Now they briefly revisit.
Current local computer hardware trends,
Faster, cheaper, smaller is the ongoing local trend,
and they emphasize RAM and local storage again,
especially when thinking about local AI use.
really connecting back to that earlier local chat.
It all ties together with the local topics
They also touch on local databases,
and why you want to avoid local data silos
stressing how valuable it is to share local info.
and how AI can locally analyze that data.
Maybe even for more focused local marketing efforts.
To check local understanding, they ask about data streams.
giving the local point of sale data as an example.
It's all about building those important local links.
Now they transition to local data warehousing,
Another really key local idea they explain,
which is about storing local historical data over time,
the instructor then gives advice for local exam prep,
reviewing key terms and practicing local questions,
and they suggest using online local tools.
to actively test your local comprehension.
It's smart to use all the local resources available.
Absolutely local, and hands-on projects are key locally.
Okay, the last thing in this local video,
A look at the local AI future possibilities,
starting with a final local vanity number reminder.
and offering to stay after for local questions.
It's always good to provide that local support.
Then they share one more relevant local example.
1-800-CHAT-GPT, a local AI caller illustration.
But it's the local future plans that are really interesting.
Beyond the local exam, students will create chatbots,
Wow, their own local chatbots with phone numbers.
and will even customize voice and responses locally.
That's incredible and so relevant to local AI callers.
Exactly, locally. And the training uses the API.
So they'll be working with a local voice interfaces.
Yep, locally. Training chatbots with uploaded local documents.
The local potential for this is really amazing.
The instructor even mentions AI changing local startups,
Potentially needing less initial local funding.
because AI can now help with important local tasks.
It's almost like AI is locally making things more equal.
In a very real local way, yes, it definitely seems so.
And the main point is that AI is improving locally.
So there you have it locally, from course details to AI help.
We covered quite a bit today, and your local insights were great.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for joining our local discussion.
Until our next exploration into the local world of information.
So I want to add a comment to Psar with the URL, and then add the comment also to the notepad with the URL of this notebook. Then I want to refresh Psar, stop the current recording, save the current recording, take the previous file name, and give it a subscript of C. Correct some mistakes here. The current time being 1:59 p.m. 1:59 p.m. That goes to the pishar.exe subfolder. Then we want to review the additional details to see how many steps. That was 31 steps. As we start the new recording, add a comment. Now we are ready to wrap it up. We'll start. This was about half an hour with Loom. Grab the Loom recorder. URL, copy to the clipboard buffer, and edit as a comment to Psar first. And then paste it into the notepad, edit, paste, and a couple of enters, and file, save. And then edit also to WordPad. Paste, and a couple of enters, and save. Let's say file save. Make sure it is set up to RTF. .rtf. That is going to go to the log subfolder. Make it also a subscript. This is Sunday. SU for Sunday. And the time now is 2:03 p.m. 2:03 p.m. I define into Psar. Okay. Now, go back to the notebook and select all. Edit, copy to the clipboard buffer. And let's see if we can add a comment. We can paste the comment. Okay. And then edit, copy the entire notepad and edit as a summary. Paste it into the summary field and scroll down and add chapters and save the 3 default chapters. Now let's go up to the top and see if we can play it back, which we cannot, so we're going to minimize it. And then go to the top of the notepad also and prepare for continuing our discussion here. Let's look at other recording devices that we have, which is MSN Recorder Max.